Good afternoon. In yesterday's lecture or in previous lecture, what we had seen is the design of superillusion, as in if you are knowing the design speed of a highway and if you know the radius of the curve, then you can simply follow 4 simple steps in order to find out the or in order to design the superillusion, and that is different from finding out the superillusion. And we had also seen a numerical, 2 numericals which were differentiating. The first one in which we had to find a superillusion, and the next two we designed a superillusion. So there was a clear difference in both of them. Now, having analyzed this superillusion, okay, either you find it or you design it. Mostly in actual field conditions or actual work that we do in the design consultancy firm, we design a superillusion. So after designing, the next step comes into picture is how you are going to execute it on the site. So that's what we do in the regular design subjects also. Whatever you learn related to structures or any other domain. So in that you design a structure, you design some elements of the structure, and then you have to execute it. So today what we will be see is the execution part, that having said and done that, you have to use the formulas of E plus F is equal to V square upon GR, and then using that formula you can analyze the superillusion, and if you have to design it, then you have 4 steps. In the first step you take 75% of design speed, and then you go on following the next steps. So that's the design aspect that you do while you're sitting in the office. Now comes the next part, is how will you actually give this superillusion on field. So for that we will see 2 methods today. So the first method is known as elimination of crown of a cambered section. Now in this, what we have is, again we have 2 methods under this also. So the first one is outer edge is rotated about the crown. Now what I mean by this is, suppose this is the pavement that you have, okay? And I have in all these figures that I am showing today, so in all the figures I have just exaggerated the slopes a bit in order to give you a visual representation that how the superillusion looks like. But actual field conditions if you see, or on field if you see, so this much superillusion, or you can't even say that a superillusion provided if it's a very minimum value. You only visualize it when the superillution is on a higher side or there is a sharp curve. So in that case you can see the outer edge and the inner edge, a level difference, clear level difference. But other than that, it's very difficult to say whether a superillusion is provided if a curve is a mild one. So here what we have is a pavement which is having a camber that you provide. We have seen what a camber is. So these are the edges. This is the outer edge of your pavement, and this is the inner edge, and this is the crown. Okay. So if we are providing the camber in both direction, or in if we are providing a bidirectional camber, that is the apex of this camber, it will be called a crown, and then from the crown, one on the left side you will be having a camber, and on the right side you will be having a camber. Okay. So this is the cross section when you are traveling on a straight road. But now we are, or your vehicle is going to traverse a curve, a horizontal curve, and then the superillusion is going to come in picture. So in superillusion, what we basically want is this outer edge, it should be at a higher level than your inner edge. So the same thing we will attain using this method, that the outer edge is rotated about the crown. So this is the outer edge, and we have to rotate it about this crown. You have to rotate about this point. So what is done is, simply if you follow the diagram, so I have drawn a dotted line over here. So what we are doing is, we are raising the outer edge. But now if suppose you have to raise the outer edge by some amount, we can't suddenly raise the outer edge, in that case it will lead to accidents because geometrically it will not be a correct thing to do on site. So we have to increase this, or you have to raise this outer edge gradually. Okay. So firstly I raise it by this much amount. Okay. Suppose I raise it by this amount, we call it E1 suppose. Okay. Then the next, or as you go ahead, you again raise this outer edge, the same outer edge, and now by another value of E2 suppose. Okay. Then again you raise it by some value, say that is E3. So this E1, E2, E3, either they can be equal or they can be unequal, but from the execution purpose and when the driver is driving the vehicle on this kind of super elevated curve, so if you keep the rate of change or rate of increase of this outer edge constant or the same value you are increasing, then there will be no discomfort to the passengers and the driver who is sitting in that vehicle. Contrary to that, if you provide this rate of superelevation unequal, so there are chances of a discomfort. Okay. So equal E1, E2, E3 means that the rate of superelevation that we are providing, it is constant, and rate of superelevation is nothing but we are traveling on a horizontal curve, so we are traveling some length, okay, or some distance. So after traveling some horizontal distance, how much is the raising of the outer edge? That is nothing but rate of superelevation. So that will be somewhat in mm per meter or mm per kilometer also, or centimeter per kilometer. So in that case, the centimeter or the mm values are the raising of the outer edge, and the kilometer and meter values on the right side are the distance traveled in the horizontal direction, okay, or towards the destination. So this is the end point, or at this point what we have done is we have almost this is the end point. So at this end point what we have done is this will again be E4. So here now we have raised the outer edge to such an extent that it is matching the camber that we have provided on the inner half of your pavement. So if I consider this inner half, okay, simply the half side which is on the in or towards the inner edge. So now my outer half, the slope of my outer half is such that it is matching the camber of the inner half. Okay. And now the crown which was there initially, now that has been eliminated. Okay. So that's what the method says, that you have to eliminate the crown. But how we are eliminating it in the first or in the A method, we are eliminating it by raising your outer edge. So that outer edge is nothing but this initial outer edge, and we are simply raising it about the crown. So if I say that you are turning this outer edge, so I am turning it around this crown part, okay, and then I raise it gradually by equal amount, and then at the end what I get is a pavement or a cross section which is having no crown. Okay, you get something like this, that there is no crown, and it's a straight section now. Straight as in this will be the cross section of the pavement when your circular curve will actually start. So now from straight section to circular curve, we have to go on wearing this or go on raising this outer edge. So this raising, for this purpose, we require some length or some distance between the straight section and the curve section, and that distance, it is covered by a transition curve. Now at this moment, you do not need to worry that what is the transition curve. We will be covering that in detail in some next lectures in this unit itself. So for now, just remember that whatever is this raising that we are giving to our outer edge, gradual raising of E1, E2, E3 and E4. So at the end of the transition curve, I will get this type of cross section, and where my transition curve ends, at that point my circular curve starts, the horizontal circular curve, and we are interested to provide this superrelation to the horizontal circular curve. So transition curve, it acts as a distance or a transition distance between the straight section and the curve section, so that you can provide a proper superrelation which can gradually increase. So this is the first method, or method number 1A, of raising the outer edge over the about the crown, or raising the outer edge over the inner edge by rotating the outer edge about the crown and eliminating the crown. And this is then this total raising, it will be capital E. We have seen in the previous numerical that your capital E, it is nothing but the superrelation that you provide, or the slope or tan theta into the width of your pavement. So this E will be comprising of E1 plus E2 plus E3, but this E1 plus E2, E1, E2, E3, E4 are the rates or raising by traveling the horizontal distance. Okay. Now the second method, or method number B, in this elimination of crown itself, is that now we have understood what we actually mean by this elimination of crown, that whatever is the pointed apex that you have for your pavement initially, you have to remove it such that you get a uniform slope starting from the outer edge to the inner edge. So that is nothing but this elimination of crown. So in method number B also, we are going to do exactly the same thing, that we are going to eliminate this crown and give a slope from outer edge to inner edge. But in now what we are adopting is, we are not rotating our outer edge, but now in this method number B, we are shifting our crown. Okay, this is also known as a diagonal crown method. So actually what we do in this is, again we start with the pavement section, or this is the cross section when you are traveling on a straight road without any curve. And now as your transition curve will start, before actually giving the full superrelation, you have to give it gradually. So what I will do is, I shift my crown. So again, these are my outer edges and inner edges, and this is the crown. And what I am saying is, in method number B, my crown will be shifted. Now where you will shift it, so obviously you will shift it to the, or towards the outer edge, because you have to raise the outer edge. So your crown will be shifted to the left side, or the outer edge, towards the outer edge. So by shifting, what I mean is, I'll provide a cross section something like this. So this dotted is nothing but, now this crown which was initially over here, now it has shifted to this location. So suppose at the start of the transition curve, this is the cross section. So maybe after, suppose 10 meter of transition curve, this will be the cross section, okay, along with the dotted one. So what we are doing is, as we travel some distance ahead, we are changing the cross sections gradually. So I have shifted the crown to the left. Now I'll go on doing this process of shifting this crown until I have attained this kind of figure, which you are seeing on the left side. So until I attain this kind of cross section, I'll go on shifting the crown. So the next thing will be, again I am shifting this crown over here. Again I am shifting this crown, and at this moment now the crown is almost, or the crown has been eliminated, and whatever is the outer edge, now this is the new outer edge that you have. And as you can see, again the slope, it is, or the slope on the outer half, it is equal to the, or it is the same slope which is continued towards the inner half of the pavement. So this is what your pavement will look like at the end of the transition curve and just before the start of circular curve. Again I am stressing this point, superelevation we need it on the circular curve, but you cannot directly provide a superelevation. So you have to gradually tilt the outer edge or inner edge, whatever you want to attain the superelevation. So that gradual increase is possible if you provide a transition curve before and after your before and after your circular curve. Because before, you know why we need it before, because we have to introduce this superelevation, and also after the circular curve is over, we have to again reduce the super elevation and bring your cross section back to the straight one. So in that case also you will require a gradual decrease. So this transition curve is an important thing as far as the superelation or providing a superelation is concerned. And as I said, we will cover in a few lectures in this unit itself afterwards. For now, we are focusing on this circular curve. So this is the first method of elimination of crown. Now, if I ask you what would be the drawbacks or what will be the limitations of this method, so think about it that this is the cross section, and what we have done in both the methods A and B is we have simply raised the outer edge. So in first method what we had done is we had raised the outer edge and we tried to eliminate the crown, and we achieved that, and at the end we got a slope for our cross section such that from outer edge to inner edge you have a same down slope or a down gradient type of thing. And then you attend this superelation of capital E. And in second method, you shifted the crown, as in this apex portion, we shifted towards the outer edge like this, and then we attain a superelation value of capital E. Now, the drawback or the limitations of this method is in the first one, the A method, you have an improper surface drainage issues. So what I mean by surface drainage issues is, if this was the crown, if I just draw the dotted lines or show the dotted lines, so you had done something like this, that you had raised the outer edge. This outer edge you have raised over the inner edge. So the moment I raise it a bit, what I am doing is I am making this camber a mild one. Okay? So initially there was some camber, as you can see on the right side, this is the camber that you had. So similarly, you had the camber on the left side as well of the pavement, but now that camber has become mild, as in we have raised the outer edge, so the slope has reduced. So initially, if it would have been suppose 2.5%, so now at this point, the one which I am highlighting in yellow, so now at this point, what it would have been, it would have been reduced to either 2 or 1.5, any value which is below this 2.5 value. And more if I raise the outer edge, so the slope will go on, or the camber will go on decreasing further. Only the one directional camber I am talking about. And the moment you provide a complete superelation over here, then the slope that I am drawing with this arrow, yellow arrow, that will be equal to your camber, because I told you that slope will match the slope of the inner half of your pavement, and your inner half of the pavement is having the slope equal to this camber value. Okay, so outer half also it will have the slope which will be equal to the camber value. So in this process, what we are doing is when we are increasing or when we are raising our outer edge step by step, E1, E2, E3. So we are making the camber on the outer half. Okay, this is the outer half. So we are making the camber on the outer half of the pavement mild. Okay, and mild camber, it will be inefficient in draining of the water quickly. It will drain off water, but the rate at which it will drain off, it will be less as compared to the rate at the inner half. So only in that section of the transition curve you will have a drainage issue. So that's the disadvantage for this A type or A method. Whereas in B method, what we are doing is we are shifting our crown itself. Okay. So that pointed thing that we had, pointed portion, so we are shifting that pointed portion, and that will give a negative, or that will introduce a negative superelation in your system, and mainly in this transition curve. So whatever will be the length of transition curve, suppose 50 meter or 80 meter, so in that short stretch of 50 or 80 meter, you will have a negative superelation on the outer half of your pavement. And the most big limitation of this method is that this elimination of crown method is only suitable if your superelevation value that you have designed that is equal to the camber value, because we are matching the slope of outer half with the inner half, and the inner half we are keeping the slope as it is, or whatever the camber we had provided, that is the slope to the inner half of your pavement. So when I say that I am matching my slope of outer half to the inner half, so what I am doing in that case is I am just providing whatever is the value of camber, that value itself I am providing as a superelevation. So that is the disadvantage of your first method of elimination of crown. So we have seen that not always we require a superelevation equal to camber. In some cases of a sharp curve, the camber value is less, but the superelevation is more than the camber which we have provided. So we might have provided a camber of 2% or 2.5%, but the superelevation is working out to be 7%, the maximum one. So in that case, we can't just go with this method of elimination of crown, because by this method we will be able to only achieve the superelevation which is equal to the camber value, but we require the greater one, that is 7% value. So for that this method is not suitable. So obviously we have to think of some another method, and that another method is this method number 2, that is rotation of pavement. So till now in the first method what we had done is we had either raised the outer edge about the crown, or we had shifted the crown. But now in this second method we are going to rotate the pavement as a whole. So in that the first method is this rotation of pavement. It can be about 2 points. The first point is about the inner edge. So what I mean by this is, again, if I suppose consider this as my pavement. Now at some places I have depicted the pavement at just a thick line, just to avoid the complications in the diagrams over here. So this is my pavement surface at the straight section, suppose. Now I have not shown the camber over here. So in this what I am doing is I am saying that I am rotating my pavement about the inner edge. So this complete pavement, it is rotated like this about the inner edge. So this becomes your inner edge, this becomes your outer edge, and what I had done is I have rotated the pavement about the inner edge. So just to show you again, this is the rotation that I have given to my pavement, and then I have attained the superelevation value whatever was required of capital E, that I have attained by rotating the inner edge. Now again this inner edge rotation, it will be gradual. It's not like at the end of the straight section you have such kind of surface, and at the start of the circular curve, or at the next moment itself, at the next point where the transition curve starts, you have this kind of cross section. So we increase that cross section gradually like this, and for that, again, as I told you, this transition curve is used for raising this edge or whatever rotation you have to provide. It is provided in that transition curve, and at the end of the transition curve or at the start of the circular curve, you will get this kind of cross section. And just a general statement I have written, that if rate of introduction of superelevation is 1 in n, okay, so 1 in n is nothing but for one horizontal I am raising or I am providing a superelevation of capital N. So the length that will be required, it will be capital NE, and this length will be equal to the length of the transition curve, or maybe less than transition curve. Okay. But basically this NE length, it will be equal to the length which is required to attain this superelevation. So as I told you, we are going to provide a superelevation gradually, and for that we require some horizontal distance to be traveled, and that horizontal distance to be traveled, it will be equal to this capital N into E. Now the second method is rotating about the center line. Now if you have understood what is rotating about the inner edge, so in similar way we are going to rotate our pavement. Now the only difference is, in the first method we had rotated about this inner edge. Now in the second method we will rotate it about this center line of the pavement that we have for the initial condition. So again, I consider a level road at a straight section, and now this is the center line of that road. This is the inner edge and this is the outer edge. Now I'm going to rotate this pavement like this. So by the amount by which I am rotating is such that the outer edge is lifted by some amount, suppose again E1. So simultaneously at the same moment, your inner edge, it will go down or it will be lowered by the same amount of E1. So in that way, we are rotating our pavement. Then again, the rotation takes place, and again I am increasing my inner edge or raising my inner edge by amount E2, and at the same time I am lowering my, I am increasing my or raising my outer edge by amount of E2, and at the same time I am lowering my inner edge by amount E2. Then again E3 is the amount by which I have raised my outer edge, and simultaneously my inner edge has been lowered by the same amount E3. And this rotation is about this center line, and now this is the final position of my outer edge and inner edge. So if I say that a pavement is there over here, so it will look something like this, and then this will be the superelevation that I have provided. But now the superelevation on the outer edge, I have raised the outer edge only by an amount of E by 2. So I have raised the outer edge only by an amount of E by 2. So whatever, suppose I found out from the design that I have to provide a 7% superelevation, and that worked out to be, suppose you can say 3.5 is the, or 7 meter is the road width. So 7 meter into 0.7 meter into 7% comes out to be something around 50 mm or so. So suppose 50 mm is the raising required. So total E, suppose it is 50 mm. So out of this 50 mm, I will raise my outer edge only by 25 mm, and simultaneously I am lowering my inner edge also. So that inner edge value, or the lowering value of the inner edge, it will be also 25 mm. So at the end, what I have done is I have achieved the superelevation where my outer edge, it has been raised over the inner edge by an amount of 50 mm, which was the total superelevation which was needed. So that is the second method, or this method number B. And you can see on the right side also we are providing a superelevation of E by 2. And in this case now, whatever is the length that we need to travel in order to attain the superelevation, so that will be again N, where N is the introduction of the rate of introduction of superelevation, and E by 2 is the height achieved. So it will be N into E by 2. So if you see, it's exactly half to the length which was required in the A condition, or the method number A, 2A. Now coming to the application, that as I told you in the previous one, the one where we had eliminated the crown by either raising your outer edge or by shifting your crown. So in that method I told you the limitations, that where it was not possible to use, it was not possible to use where the camber or the superelevation was greater than camber. So in that case our elimination of crown method was not useful. So that's why we saw this method number 2. Now in this in this method number 2 also we saw two sub methods, 2A and 2B, rotating about the inner edge and rotating about the center line. So if I see the advantages and disadvantages of both the methods, so starting with the first method, where I had rotated my pavement about the inner edge. So in that method, or this method, it is suitable for a flat terrain. Okay. So if I have a very flat or almost flat or even small amount of rolling terrain, so in that cases this method is useful. Okay. and flat terrain along with high rainfall region, suppose. So in that case also, this method is useful. Okay. And coming to the second method, or method number 2B. So now if you just see, what we have done is we have raised our outer edge and inner edge. We have raised our outer edge and lowered our inner edge by equal amounts. So this kind of method is useful if you want a balanced earthwork. So whatever will be the cutting on the inner half, because you are lowering the inner half, so that cutting, it will be balanced by the filling which is required to raise the outer half. So that balanced earthwork, it is obtained in this second method, or method number 2B. That is not obtained in 2A, because in 2A we are simply raising the outer edges. So you have to just go on filling. But in method number 2B, you are lowering as well as raising at the same time. So whatever is the cut portion or cut material on the inner half, that you will just remove and dump it on the outer half, and then you will achieve a balanced earthwork. So it is sort of economical process. Balanced earthwork, it results to economical process. But in this method 2B, there is a disadvantage, and that disadvantage is that there are drainage issues, because suppose, or these are the levels, just a minute. So at the starting of this method, I told you that this is the level of my straight section. Okay? So straight section as in, if the highway is passing through some area, so the adjoining area is also having almost the same level. If your pavement is on an embankment, so it will be on a higher level. If cutting on a lower level, but more or less it will be very much nearer to the, if I just draw some ups and downs, just to exaggerate it, I have given more ups and downs, but the level difference is not that much, if you see. So now if I have to adopt this method number 2B, so what I am doing is I am raising my outer edge, which is fine, but I am also lowering my inner edge. So in that case, what can happen is this inner edge, this final inner edge, it can happen that your adjoining ground is somewhere at this level. Okay, it is at this level itself, and then you have given a or you have given the final location of your inner edge, which is at a lower level than this adjoining area. So in that case, whatever will be your inner half of your, whatever is the inner half of your pavement, so that will face a drainage issue, because all the water which is from the outer edge also, because your outer edge is at a higher level, so all this water from the outer edge, it will come and rush into the inner half, and at this inner half you don't have an adjoining land at the same level as your inner level, or even as the lower level. So if the land was somewhere here, the adjoining land level was somewhere here, so the water would have rushed into the adjoining land and then through the drainage. But now in this case, as we don't have a adjoining land at the same level of your inner edge, we have it somewhere up, so the water will start accumulating on this inner up, unless and until you provide a very proper drainage system which can handle the complete runoff. Okay. So this kind of situation you will find a lot of times, just when you travel on a lot of highways in India, and if you travel during monsoon, heavy monsoon, so sometimes you might notice that there is a curve, and only suppose it's a 3-lane highway. I'm taking an example of the Pune bypass. So in that many sections near Pashan, as well as near the Chandani Chowk area, you will find that it happens that only one lane amongst the 3 lane, it is logged with water, the inner one, and the rest of the 2 lanes which are on the outer side, they don't have any water accumulation over it. So that is the problem, because the superelevation has been provided using this method of rotating about the center line. Okay. So that's the disadvantage, that you have a drainage issue on the inner half of your pavement. So that's all with the attainment of superelevation. We'll stop here for today.